Thank you very much, Sierra and the desk. Yeah, find yourself a friend like Van City, by the way. You could go out there and 0-13 a map, and next time it comes up, you'll be like, man, I can't wait to see these guys in this map. And he will gas you up like it is, you would not believe, man. SAD Esports Wide here, going away from the deadlock, right? So we've sort of seen this on Haven a little bit, punishing for those retakes if you get good attack side post plants, but we like the Cypher. Good sort of passive info, good map control.
Now, get you a man who supports you in the best of times and the worst of times, Mitch. That's what means, is get you a man like that. Listen, so I'm not surprised, though, that SAD have just switched over to the more, I suppose, default look when you're running the ISO Yoru, though. They were playing that deadlock before. Cypher is just so important on Haven. There's so many lanes that you have to gain passive info on when you're playing defense, particularly. So just going over to one of the tried and true meta comps here.
We'll be sad on the defense side. We're obviously looking at a very slow start to our pistol round here for Shopify Rebellion Black. Cute little diagonal trip over towards that C side, which won't get tested unless it's through Garage, which Zerona's about to find out the hard way. Shock dart drawn out of the defenders here, and Shopify Rebellion fancying a drift to this A side of the map with, look at already, Pancake snuck past that position there over in Sewer. So they have an embedded A player.
This could get awkward, though. It depends on the timing with Gerwin, but that would be oh so free for Pancakes, as is the site for the rest of the team to gather up, get this spike down. And from there, you still have Monty with a full kit on the breach. This is going to be incredibly difficult for SAD Esports to get back into the site.
That's the issue with the Cyber Cage. You know, it could imply a cross on the Cypher. It could also just be a fake. Gerwin has no way of knowing. Paint's playing far forward with a frenzy. Straight into the face there of Tuzi.
Ill-advised.
Yeah, wouldn't say it's the best call of the day, but still player advantage exacerbated, and Pancakes exits the round with 4 after sneaking in onto A and opening it up.
A very solid opening here for SRB, who are desperately in need of this win. Both teams are, as Sierra said. This is an elimination game that we're in, which just doesn't seem right at all. How did SRB get here, Mitch? Why is this team in danger of having to play in the promotion relegation tournament after
I'm glad you
coming in first place stage
glad
one?
You asked, in fact. Something about the O2 loss to Landor is the one that sort of, you know, I feel definitely put them in this position. But generally, it's like some competitive games, and our desk talked about it, right? Like some, 2-1s a lot of the time. This team is not just giving away series for free. And Core and Winthrop have shown themselves to be reasonable opposition. The desk sort of charitably dug for a couple of things like coordination, cohesion, our favorite buzzwords, and we don't really know what's going on. But let's be real. This team should not be in a potential relegation position. 1-4 if they lose this game, and they're out.
To start off this stage as well, we saw Paint have that crazy 34-9 game as a Neon on Haven. But since then, they lost the map twice. Like, you would think that they'd be unstoppable when you have a guy who can put up those kind of numbers on any individual map, but he just hadn't been able to recreate that magic the subsequent 2 times that they've played it. So we'll have to see if he can get back on the horse here.
Apparently those 524 ACS games don't happen every day. I'm sure.
But let's give us like 300, maybe 280.
280, exactly.
Like 280 would be fine.
That's kind of what Shopify need from a player they put in this kind of position. Pancakes got very active in that first round, got him into the A site. Now he's going to want to take contact here. And started making enough noise here, especially with a trapwire trip. We would like to perish to the spike here. Pancakes, though, has other ideas. He would like to farm them for some credits, for some currency. BCJ has the same kind of idea. Ghost player here, so it's all kind of free. Joa shows himself, and there it is. Some extra money in the pocket as Shopify Black get off to the start that we're looking for.
BCJ was really on the verge there of collecting damn near enough orbs to get that Armageddon early. That's why he was just running at them with the pistol. They were all stunned up. He's only 2 away at the moment, so they could still potentially play into that as a win con for their bonus round. I mean, they could even try to around the world grab both orbs, or just collect one, give them the spike planted. There are different ways they could try to get into that situation where they could play a post plant with that ult, get that bonus round win, get the economy rolling, and take control of the game early.
Call might be here from Monsi for some early A action. Yeah, very fast play, of course, behind these salvos, and Paint wants to get pretty busy. Fast lane thrown up, but I think Zerona saw him cross, so they probably know there's no threat of a player actually sort of pushing them and calling their bluff. It's Jerwin finding Paint, who had doubled all the way back towards lobby, and I guess there was an initial feint at the start of this round wire, but after that, Shopify just kind of stood around. Now they're getting picked apart by the defenders. Jerwin, on both sides of the map, able to cut them down.
You said it, just able to teleport over to C and make it look effortless as they're trying to get out of garage those remaining 3 SRB players. I mean, I respect the idea of trying to go for that A pressure into the fake, and then you have Pancakes inserted, try and catch some players that are, going to be on that rotate. But when Paint gets caught in lobby here initially by Jerwin, and then Pancakes is hoping there would just be one player collecting that orb.
I mean,
not the case.
That is a pretty egregious round, I think, for the attackers. Wyatt. I mean, there's an initial feint over towards A, but they were committed behind it. They've got that A-long control. And then they sort of mill around.
Fair game plan, but yeah, it just really collapses as soon as Paint gets punished off the jump. But all right, here's SRB early on trying to gain some control towards garage. You have Paint inserted fairly deep. The C site is lacking in any defenses from SAD. They've thrown all of Benji's util over towards the A side so they can stack more players on that BC area of the map.
Already an Odin in the hands of BC Johnson, your boy. He will try and get a little bit of spray over towards that garage side of the map here. But again, SRB, albeit much slower this time and trending in that A direction. A lot of Cypher util on this site, though. Customarily, you'd expect to see him at B holding it solo or playing through garage, but perhaps this is the kind of edge to get SAD back into the game properly now. Cam will be removed again. There's going to be an easy A split set up here now for SAD. They're going to have to get busy. Not good for Zerona, not the start he's looking for. Cyber Cage is enough to obscure him, and yeah, that's why BCJ brings the Odin in. Spray down through so much of this sideline covering util and force SAD into a 3-player post plant.
A three-player post plant that they will simply be saving, and I can't imagine that they're going to go for this. How do you get back in? You're staring down the breach, Tejo. It's just as good as done. Paint even has a recon bolt as well for additional stun when they try to get through a choke. Yeah, there's just legitimately no way that SAD could win that round, so they simply must save. It was a good hit from SRB. Fortunate that initial spam from Pancakes went through to connect on Zerona, who was being protected by the cage that had just gone up. Yeah, that spam from BCJ. For some reason, there's something about North American Challengers players. They love the Odin on Haven, and it is good, but it's like compared to Americas, I feel like we do not see it nearly as much as we do. The Challengers always has its own little meta on certain things like that.
Brock used to buy it a fair bit on this map, if I'm not mistaken.
7 buys it all the time.
Yep,
as well.
Yeah, interesting look. And for BCJ there, it's pretty handy when the cyber cages start coming up on that side, and that might maybe make Benji think twice about being the anchored player on those faster hits. Just being that sort of loose end over at C, getting a lot of good passive info, maybe play off a kill trip is maybe where he wants to be. But this is SAD, of course, who have sort of pivoted away from their deadlock over towards this. So finding a way to get max value out of Benji in some of these rounds is really going to be important, as their defenders are going to be spread pretty thinly across this map. And Shopify are trying to exploit that exact fact here with a really slow default.
At the moment, it looks like SAD are grouped up, to try and get some control over towards A long. They don't actually have the info on short, so they have to be concerned of the potential that an SRB player has crept their way down, but they are ready to just contest here. Lobby Paint is going into the Armageddon way too quickly.
Okay, Armageddon comes down. Joe Wood desperately trying to get out of the way, but that's not a good combo at all for him, at least. Spectral delivery. Follow-up, of course. He was never going to get out of that corner as that aftershock came through, but BCJ decided to get himself another orb, which I respect. Now, though, initial encounter notwithstanding.
Look at these trips.
Wait.
Madness.
Are they concerned that the Dark Knight is hitting the C side? Are they... Okay.
I mean, I guess, yeah, if you're trying to go plant on default, that's a crazy choice. I mean, it would make more sense. I mean, listen, I get it. Someone could run into that trying to get towards default. I've never seen someone use that. All right, well, free as free comes for Benji. They can play this 3v2 retake now. Time getting low. Spike does get planted.
Monty needs to spray down here. I think he knows it. Yeah. Okay, Pancake's helping out, though. The off angle's good. Tuzi, though, brings the Cypher down. This puts Monty in that 1v2 and he is util-less. And he steps out. Oh, spacing could have been a concern there for Sad, but Tuzi will be able to convert. And very, very scrappy rounds here already. Shopify Rebellion spread the map, played at sort of slow default, and you can see where so many of these kills go down over towards A side. It's an interesting application, I think, in this round of that Armageddon from Shopify.
It was cool in theory, and I think could have worked out better if some of those timings were just a little bit tighter. I want to see if Paint had, unfortunately can't really see, but I wanted to see if he had any additional supportive utility coming through. I don't think so. Like a flash there could have been pretty beneficial. Maybe it just didn't connect. Not 100% certain, but regardless, he was way too fast compared to the rest of his team. Like, that easily could have been SRB up in a 5-3 man advantage scenario. But
idea could have been that maybe the defenders have their backs turned if they're trying to run out of that. But yeah, you'd expect there to be one more piece of util for him there, because his timing was a little on the early side. That's fine. It's pretty hard to put that kind of elaborate play together. There's Jerwin. Just has a walk out there. Pancakes is, again, much like he did in the pistol round, crossing over towards that A side of the map and hoping to get good info. None to be got this round. And again, these Cirque du Soleil looking seaside there with these bloody high-flying ropes. The trap set up here for Benji now as the drone will come to try and clear.
Okay, doesn't actually get the suppress though, so the trips are still activated. Monty wants to find the timing, does find that kill as well.
Pretty clean. Nicely executed. BCJ here now knows that there's a couple of players stacked up on the logs, so this aftershot's going to get them moving. BCJ and hope to capitalize, and okay, they'll take that. They actually catch Tuzi out with that aftershock. Not able to move in time. Maybe BCJ swinging on him gave him pause for thought. I like the fake TP here. Yeah, that gives Spaz all the edge he needs to take it another round.
That was a nice swift shot initially from Spaz as well. And those players rotating in through the connector, trying to get into sight. Monty really the MVP of that round. Initially finds that timing window to fight through window, get that first pick, perfect aftershock placement, forces the defenders out into the open when they were trying to stay entrenched on logs. Really well played from the SRB IGL, and that's going to put Sad in a pretty tough economic situation.
Might not be relevant this round, but I will be looking to see if Shopify Black are trying to combine, you know, like Rolling Thunder or with a fast play from Paint, much the same way as Armageddon was used. Because I want to see if there's like another component to that util stack that they're going to try and, you know, set up the Neon up with, if at all. Pancakes is on the other side of the map here, though, and Benji is going looking, as you often do on some of these pistol rounds, especially if your name is Crew. Benji will get what he came for.
I know exactly where you are.
Neural theft as well, just going to make things as safe as they can be for SRB. Their economy is pretty terrible as well, so they certainly want to retain as many guns as they can.
I love that from Paint. Bro, he's basically the cat riding on the Roomba, you know, going down into sewer. Always trying to get behind something. Always trying to be the third party to the action, but cannot play off for the fact that the drone had to be cleared. Still, Benji and Zerona out of the game. This is pretty straightforward stuff here at C, and already that info from Neural Theft came across, so Shopify knew where to be.
And at this point, they can just play off this paranoia from Spaz. Shouldn't really have anything to worry about here. They're just looking to walk away with a clean round, like I said, just retain these guns, get their economy into a better position.
Get your money up. We need to get 10,000 today, buddy.
And aside from that, yeah, maybe BCJ can collect a couple kills, get close to that Armageddon.
Those guns in hand, obviously, is important. Tuzi will strip one of them away. But yeah, pretty solid stuff here for SRB. And again, that Rolling Thunder that I sort of alluded to in the previous round is going to be on deck here, potentially, to play from a fast hit. Maybe an A side of the map here. We'll see how that inclination looks early on the round.
And now this will be a round that it determines if SRB can run away with the half, as SAD are putting their economy on the line and presumably will also be using as many of their ultimates as they can to actually convert this round win. And then, conversely, there's that Rolling Thunder that you mentioned from Shopify Rebellion. So a lot to keep your eye on in this round in regard to how either team intend on using these ultimates. Look like SAD just want to take some space down mid. Jerwin bobbing. Oh my god. That is a sick shot. And now look at Jawa all the way pushed down. 2-3 kills as well.
My ult is ready.
Look, credit where it's due. They're making very good use of this double duelist comp on defense, Wyatt. Both duelists getting active early.
Oh my god.
Yeah, 3 for Jawa. Pancakes has got no business being here. Okay, we're doing that. I appreciate it. And there you have it. Another one for Pancakes. Down to 12, though. Eventually that cyber cage is going to be cleared. SAD get back into the game, but maybe a bit more of an expensive round than they otherwise would have liked. But when you've got the double duelist comp on defense, you've got to go and make something happen. You've got to wage something to gain something.
Yeah, I love that they mixed in that walk down mid. Not something that they've really attempted before, and it definitely pays off. And the Joa just gets the perfect window of timing to make that little peek. Both players lined up. All right, that was a cool round from SAD, mixing things up. German's going to be positioned with the op over towards C now.
I think what I like about that so much is that you are like anticipating them trying to do something with the Rolling Thunder in that previous round. So get aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
With your duelists. This time though, the Stinger that actually finds some purchase now. Here's the Rolling Thunder finally drawn out, but safe behind the boxes. I won't say Tuzi. Joa also doesn't fare much better. So the inevitable hit comes in.
Spike planted.
The other shoe drops are now Sauter down to just Jerwin and Benji with the operator, of course. They managed to use it in the previous round. Does he go for this? Not a lot of money to speak of on this team, but a trade up for a rifle here in a 1v2 that is very winnable. The VCJ is going to be there for the trade. I'm so sad. We set back down to the economic doldrums.
Joa had that really great swing into sight to support. Tuzi catches that kill. They feel like in that moment they can stay anchoring, but as soon as BCJ gets those guiding salvos down, they get the swings back sight, and they're put in a really uncomfortable situation. They got the advantage, but they overplayed their hand. I think Joa could have gotten that kill and is going to be regretting not just getting out and regrouping with the team to play for a retake. They had a dimensional drift, still do have it, but could have used it then in a 3 versus 3. Never maybe safer ways to play that, and I think they're going to regret not taking those lines instead, but...
With such a wealth of ultimates to play with, do SAD consider 1 or 2 of them maybe? Some of them are completely useless, of course. Kill contract with the Guardian would be nothing short of comical, but there is a bit to work with here for SAD. Again, a slower start here for Shopify, because again, they know there's a potential for this double duelist comp to try and get in their face early. Oh, there are no Benjis behind the box. Devastating. I think he must have been the one that cleared the drone. Maybe some traces or sound heard. Pancakes lines them up. That is dirty.
What is that, man?
1 through the knee, 1 through the chest, if I had to guess. We're off to the races now. SAD have gotten very little purchase this round.
Oh, but the hero Bulldog is over here on the A side, and it's not...
It's not barking.
Well, it's not really looking to be set up for too many heroics when he's immediately getting stunned and flashed. It's a little tough. SRB, they've taken firm control of this half. SAD have had a couple rounds here and there where they've been able to make some aggressive moves, but yeah, ultimately SRB are looking quite clean on this attack half so far.
I think, look, if you're SAD, you're probably happy to take one of the next 2 rounds if you can, and you've got a billion ultimates. So, get this lineup. Yeah, well.
But that is always the thing with this comp that SAD are running. You can get a crazy snowball going on your attack side, just using one ult after another with those 2 duelists. So there's always the potential for a serious run back. You've got to imagine they're going to need to get at least 4 on the board here for that to even be a possibility, or the deficit will just be too much. So they've got 2 chances to get to that number.
Oh, man, that is so punishing. Jerwin this time getting force-fed a taste of his own medicine. Tuesday on the box spot, though. Sees Paint come at him up mid. Remember, with these ults being held as long as they are, they're sort of losing out on value with each extra kill that is picked up. No dimensional drift on board here for Sad this time. Again, plenty to work with, especially in that Hunter's Fury. And finally, Neural Theft used here as they push out of mid. Kill. Cool, buddy. That's brutal stuff. The whiff of the kill contract, and then Benji goes down. He was the one with the information over at C. No util left to play off. Of course, with the Cypher out of the game, and it's about as bad as it gets.
That is disastrous. I love the usage of the ult from Joa, but not the angle he sent it out at. Though to be fair, he just used it off of Pancake's popping the ult, presumably still having the op, and if he catches him, that's a free kill in the kill contract. But unfortunately,
one enemy remaining.
Did not catch him. Round completely crumbles.
And here's the issue, when you are trying to get some early action going as a defender, you've got these ultimates that are amazing in like a longer round, especially when your early info is no longer relevant, right? Dimensional Drift is such a good example of, like, you know, Jerwin, if he gets involved in these early fights and he comes out second best, there's no chance to make use of it. Yeah, if you win that fight, sure, you drift, you go for it. But there's almost a case to be made for, hey, do I just need to be a little bit more passive early in the game? You know, early in the round, get that initial info off our server, then try to get a second wave, like a refresh update on that, and then go with it. I saw him even consider a Bucky there as well, why maybe a D-drift play, but gonna go for a Guardian instead. Light armor here. It's a messy buy in the last round of the half for Sad.
Sad are retaining their ultimates for the second half right now. Benji is trapped in the site in the cave. This is very awkward, but all good.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, there was a dimensional drift somewhere. It definitely occurred. Paint trying to clean up the round here, but yeah, we're all but done in the half, and that's punishing for Sad. Again, they really would have loved to have gotten to 4. They had 5 ultimates a couple of rounds ago. They had a decent gun round to work with too, but had the operator just take Jerwin out of the game at the start of round 11. And round 12 was fared hardly any better. You can see that blue X on the minimap. That's where Jerwin dies. So he does push deep towards the spawn side. Doesn't really have the weaponry to make it work. And yeah, well, we're not saving that one for Valorant too, that's for sure. Monzi gonna be able to push Zerona off and out of a position where he could reliably defuse here. The firing squad awaits. And Zerona will try and tease them out of position. It's gonna be a 9-3 half here for Shopify Rebellion Black, and you can't ask for much more than that.
At least they popped all their ults. They did use them. They didn't save them for the next half, but yeah, I think, what was that, Sherwin just going for the dimensional drift, pop out with a gun, gets punished for it.
For the Guardian, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, maybe they could have tried to sync that up with their Hunter's Fury when the spike was attempting to be planted over on C. Could have been more consistent for finding value, but they go for the high risk, high reward, and found no reward, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Still though, listen, I'm not counting them out entirely. If they win this pistol, this comp can absolutely roll on attack, but it's going to be tough. The 9-3, pretty large deficit.
Like you mentioned earlier, once they get rolling, if they get rolling, you know, rationing out the ults when they come online and you sort of 3 or 4 rounds to really just let you get those first picks or a massive amount of information about the map in the Yoru's case is going to be pretty big. Undercut comes through. BCJ going to respect it. Also, the paranoia thrown in. This will force a complete retake. There is a Cypher cam up, so a chance for Shopify to play off that. BCJ's been very active getting back into heaven now.
Spike planted.
Just trying to spam. Lower doesn't find anything. Trip is going to be broken on the flank. Will SRB commit heavily to this? They will. I mean, listen, certainly when that's broken, if you're the team on A site, you're expecting 1, maybe 2 players, typically not 4 of them to be coming from long.
Pain is always airborne in some way or another. This time slides on through, deals with Joe, and BCJ was set up here. This was such a pivotal position on this retake, and they've lost that heavy control now, the defenders. Monty from below sees that there's a Sova up on that high ground, and Joey deals with Pain. 1 versus 2, the caller here has to bail his team out. Joel was probably hoping to set something up for Zerona there, who just didn't seem to be on the same page, but it doesn't matter. Hard-fought pistol round, crucial one there for SAD. Keep their head above the surging tides.
It was a good response from SAD Esports, realizing that there were so many players coming from SRB down A long that they just take that forward space, flip the map, play from heaven, and it's going to be so easy to convert once they're in that position with the spike planted below them, and they made it look as easy as it should be. It's well done from them, recognizing what they needed to do in the moment, what their win con actually was.
Standing ahead.
So that hurdle, first crucial hurdle for SAD has been crossed. They get to 4. Still seems like a very paltry total.
Here.
Speaking of paltry, BCJ, too chicken to face down the Outlaw.
Down.
I get it.
BCJ also just sends those salvos immediately, grabs the orb, hoping that, hey, look, we're fighting over towards A. Walk towards C into our Bucky's, SAD Esports, but they just re-clear A and should be avoiding the shotgun entirely. Unless Joa goes way far towards C, which is, that would be an insane decision and would make 0 sense as per what SAD are doing right now. So that would be a horrendous mistake if he engaged with that, and there's no reason he would ever do that. So all good.
Too much step to A here now. I like the idea. This obviously puts Paint in a pretty awkward spot. One where he will struggle less than other agents, but he will struggle to make use of that Bucky. Salvo's not quite the timing they're looking for. Zerona with the Bulldog. Deals with VCJ once again set up in heaven. Should be pretty straightforward stuff from this point out. And again, this like double door to set up. Now going on that attack side. Shopify but need to find a way to get Paint involved. If they do attempt to, you know, start to insert the neon in weird spots, make use of that ease of rotation for her. But Shopify aren't trying to do anything this round, folks. Don't be fooled. They will just let it end as soon as possible.
Joa? That's tough, buddy. That's tough, but more than enough weapons are taken. Okay. And just swatted down.
Well, he got value out of the Bucky, which was obviously something I cast doubt on.
Did go 1 for 1.
Put that behind us. Let's get busy now. Gun round for Shopify.
Gun round for Shopify, where 3 of their players do not have ideal money when you're going up against 2 now. One of them, I can't remember who that was, but they realized I should probably have heavy armor, and I'll forego buying something else.
Sheesh.
So 2 players susceptible to 1 outlaw shot from Jura when he wants to post up towards lobby, but that is a nightmare to do early on when you're facing down the Tejo. Always going to be those instant salvos. What?
This is what I'm saying. Smoke that lobby, get Paint forward. They did the same thing on that C side of the map last time around, and now there's just 0 step towards this A side. There's a world though. Joe here gets an ore over at C as soon as he starts to feel safe enough, and there's a kill contract online. Looks like he's just obtained that. But I wouldn't recommend throwing it out too willy-nilly here. And there's no Cypher trip at the front of the site here. They're actually quite deep.
Breaking them.
Very passive info gain off these trips, but frankly, perfect for this situation. As SRB are just going to be playing for the full retake, and they'll know that they have these players. You know, well, that one is actually jumpable, broken now, but should give them enough info that they're contained when they go for the full retake against a very weak Zerona who feels like he needs to make a play.
Trip there, of course, inside garage window. Not the time you obviously ult if you are ISO. So it's going to be honest Valorant here for the 2 remainders of SAD in this post plant now. And the util starts to come in. Joa sat on the site, clears BCJ. Spacing, a bit of a concern maybe. 2 versus 1 now, they're going to swing together. You would think! But Joa says, okay, 1 at a time is just fine with me.
That is so disastrous. You're absolutely right. The spacing there just a little bit awkward. Gives him the opportunity to take essentially 1v1s, and he's so rapid on the shots. Tragic for SRB. They open the round with 2 insta-kills. This crazy one-tap from BCJ shuts down Jerwin with the Outlaw. bring it into the 4-on-2. Zerona has like 13 health as well.
Monty just stops. He stops for just a second. Otherwise, the spacing's completely reasonable there.
Oh, great suppress. Ult is just immediately nullified right there.
Sad here, basically, playing very similarly to the way we saw Shopify do it. Is there a timing here? I can't believe it. No, not quite. Perhaps if he just stuck to his guns, he might have had it. Monty cleared out here in the kill contract, so ISO ultimate traded up for some value. And this is what we kind of mentioned. One ultimate per round, ration them out, can really start to snowball a game. The Seaside's about to get extremely hot and heavy now. It's more of these wild trips have been put on display for us. And Pancake's is going to see it all. Cage up now. Okay, has to play, of course, with the Sheriff. Joe and deals with him the shorty. It's going to be only the 1-for-1. There's only stingers remain. Shopify. BCJ doesn't sound very intimidating at all.
Gerwin's picked up that outlaw again. Why not? Buy is really bad. Well, a little bit unfortunate. Still, though, Sad should never be losing this round.
One enemy remaining.
Finally, BCJ is put to bed. Spazzy now is thinking about the weaponry, but it's all distributed on the other side of the site. So we'd have to cross here. And you better believe this is being watched by 3 individuals. Spaz can TP, though. He's picked up an outlaw. And there's only 1 insta-kill here. Tuzi and Benji can take a hit unless it's to the dome. Spaz is going to step up. Here he comes. Okay. He tries to go for it. I do respect it. Ends up finding one of the players, though, at full health and armor and not Zerona. So Tuzi just gets chunked down and we are 2 rounds away now.
And we have arrived at the danger zone for SRB, where they recognize that too, as they are calling the timeout, because SAD have built up their economy to a significant extent. They've just been able to use their dual assaults to win some rounds. Zerona's got the Hunter's Fury. Jerwin is approaching that dimensional drift. They're able to use the kill contract on an anti-eco, which is always a nice feeling when you're the ISO and you know you're about to just get a free kill in that 1v1. You're playing gun game against someone that's still stuck on the pistol when you've gotten all the way to the rifle.
Kill issue.
It's just so free.
And yeah, again, it's honestly great when you're a little bit concerned about like not being able to clear the defenders out of every corner. Being able to throw a kill contract in and just extract one of them. Feels pretty good on rounds like this. And then you walk out with a double tap, right? So when the fighting does get heavy, you're inoculated against that Sheriff headshot. It's just really hard to be a juiced up ISO in one of those rounds. Let's do this. Armageddon at the ready for BCJ. On this defense side, Shopify Black have definitely languished a little bit. Paint's been looking for ways to get in the game. We've seen it pushing up into mid-window, pushing up out of A, over to C. Every round, he's trying to get inserted by it. Now that he's got a proper weapon to play with, it looks like they want to throw down on this A long.
Now Jerwin is upgraded to the operator, going to control over towards that C side of the map. Some of the standard util from SRB with the missiles to try and contain early on A. Leaving Paint to just jiggle for info, which is obscured by the dark cover that you can see on the minimap. Sad intentions of just pivoting back to Jerwin, who's patiently clearing these angles, hoping to find an opening.
As is tucked, he hears the double tap, hit with the paranoia, throws one out of his own. Dangerous now, Armageddon comes in! Spaz have to make short work of them, but Zerona apparently just caught inside of it like a lemming.
Down, C.
Benji is basically in Saskatchewan.
That was just a perfect Armageddon from BCJ. What can you really say? I mean, you're going for a full C-long hit against the Armageddon. You are absolutely fried.
You just not go C on a round like that? If you're concerned about, if you're tracking that Armageddon? Feels dangerous when you get a player that can slow you up by just like being tucked in the corner and trying to spray you down.
Yeah, I mean, if they were able to trade out quicker onto Spaz, they would have had 2 players that could have gone in and be fighting on the site. But then, yeah, even still, SRB were so quick to flood back in that situation and get players coming through that BC link into backsite. It is a really difficult ask
10 seconds left
to be able to win against the Armageddon in that situation.
Oh, Benji, got to wait this one out here. Keep the rifle in hand. And finally, Shopify, Rebellion, Black, get on the round. This is, of course, one of the 9-3 maps of all time. So we never get too ahead of ourselves, especially when a defense side is only able to get those 3 rounds. And Sad did everything right in terms of converting the pistol, rationing out some of those powerful ultimates carefully. But here, let's see how this... Oh, man, that is good. Oddly enough, yeah, Zerona wants to tuck in Cubby there, but doesn't realize that, because you can't really tell that the coverage of that Armageddon is perfectly, so it will catch a Cubby player as well.
It's tough as well when your Yoru's hopping and you don't have someone to teleport deep backside. But anyway, that is in the past. Time to live in the present, where Benji is attempting to get some space towards a long, hoping that there will be someone from Shopify pushing up. He can find an opening that way.
Oh, buddy, not good. Benji slowed up, and Paint is going to be able to punish it. Cheeky little trap play there. And it's all set up with the info gained by that little drone. Punishing stuff indeed. Joe, we're now going to waste no time. They're trying to get up onto this B side. It's Spaz going to be the first contact again. Holding a little paranoia here. He's going to get pressure though in this backside. He knows that he needs to swing for it and just doesn't have a chance to deploy his util in a gameful manner. Payne sees the edge of him here, of course, as Joe will peek around corners a little bit more when double tap is active. And that's a clean round for Shopify, Rebellion, Black. A little uninspired for Sad after they'd lost their Cypher on A.
They're definitely doing what this comp does best, which is flooding in with a ton of utility, getting your Neon in position, creating space. Absolutely deleting Sad on that entry into B, and yet that was just... Benji honestly looks like he was kind of asleep at the wheel in that situation, playing tucked into Cubby against this comp that SRB are running. And when you spot it out like that, you kind of have to get out of dodge, but he was suppressed, so he didn't even have a cage to cross. They just put in a horrendous situation, if we're being honest. SRB are looking to close this map out now. Sad zone map pick. They have just not been up to scratch compared to a team that are, you know, well, they should be one of the massive favorites in the league, despite their current woes.
Yeah, and now they have to win out from here, which is kind of insane. A big ask for them now. This is a Swiss system, so you keep getting pitted against those with the same record as you. And the threat of elimination, at least from the Swiss stage, is now ever present for them. That is just the world they live in. God, it's just easy for BCJ, isn't it? Tusi steps up and he takes a couple chunks out of him. This is the weapons here for Sad are so rough, and their contact swinging A long, hoping for something.
Look, I was going to say, look at Joe on the map. All right, just doesn't matter. Monty runs him down.
Close to a kill contract, but at this stage, he's going to have to use it to keep his team alive in this game. Not bad for Sheriff player, won't lie.
Exactly.
Pushing up through that cyber cage now with a neural theft to give you everything you need to know.
Spike planted.
Of course, Bastis realizes that because he's obviously been revealed, he may as well clear these trips. Cats out of the bag well and truly. Paint would love to fly into the site here. Relay bolt thrown out. They did not connect on anyone, but Monty's there to back him up at least. This puts Benji in an unenviable situation. First, a vacation to Saskatoon. Second, having to 1v2 clutch under the effects of paranoia to keep his team in the game. And he's low, real low. Still, Monty falls. Spaz gets him though. One better. Money still good for Shopify. No concerns about being able to buy. Sad Esports now got to throw down for the map.
At this point, I have to say this map is looking kind of hopeless for Sad. Even if they're able to convert this next round, look at the state of the ults for SRB. With just a couple orbs away from all of that impact that the initiators can have when the Armageddon and the Rolling Thunder are up, you have to imagine that SRB are sure to lock this up. If not this round, the one after it.
We'll see what the buy's looking like here. Honestly, all things considered, pretty good. You've got basically everything you need to win around here for Sad. And Joel, of course, can potentially secure that player advantage early with an orb pickup. Here's Arna's Fury to start things off. Dimensional Drift also simultaneously comes through as Joe and gets himself onto the A site. This is a full retake here for Shopify, who don't have any big retake ultimates to rely on.
You and me.
BCJ low. Okay, I would avoid that kill contract. Paint, though, a little bit of an awkward landing, wobbly as he came down after throwing the relay bolts, and the other two players realized the timing wasn't there. Paranoia secures that kill comfortably enough, though, but Monzy does allow himself to get pinged.
Sad, they are now aware that there are two players flanking them. So do they want to try and fight forward? It looks like they do.
Nice and clean. That's the delivery step forward off. Joe would happy to take yet another fight. Monty has actually developed that Rolling Thunder for a future round. But Joe exits with 4. Great showing here, but it's a round you've got to take, obviously. And where those big ultimates do come down.
Yeah, now we are at the aforementioned juncture in which SRB still have a ton of cash and they're getting those initiator ultimates activated. Really surprised, though, to see these moments where SRB are very disconnected at the pace that Paint is playing at compared to some of their other players. It hasn't been able to be entirely punished by SAD in this game, but it is odd to see from them, not something that they were really a victim of before.
It reminds me of what I thought G2 would look like when Jogma joined their team. Like, this super aggressive player, like a little bit out in front, like the spacing not there. Timing's also hard to play off of. As we discussed that, though, we have a full site here and a full pull out there by SRB, of course. Rolling Thunder I alluded to earlier is going to be so pivotal in this retake.
Hey, it is going to be sent out. Paint just has the AWP right now, by the way.
Oh my goodness, the guy was stunned. I'm pretty damn sure. Hides their inside hell. Pancakes has got a lot to shoot at here. Monty can't really recover it for Shopify Rebellion Black. That is awkward stuff, Wyatt. Awkward indeed. Sad. Kind of get away with it there.
They have nice crossfires set up, but Jerwin gets 2 because Paint just has the AWP, and he was still 1 orb away from actually having the overdrive. So he's forced to drop down and then isn't close enough, so he has to run at him with a shorty, but then it takes too much time so Jerwin can transfer the spray. Really uncomfortable. Rolling Thunder out the window, economy in the bin. That uncomfortable buy, but Shopify determined to stick to the game plan they had for the retake really just ends in disaster. And now SAD have an opportunity to get this game into OT. They're getting close to it.
Joan has built 2-dimensional drifts in 3 rounds. Yet again has it online here.
Here we go.
Spotted by the Cavs, gonna have to be a push here on their A side of the map. Paint wants to make use of this overdrive. Well, at least it sets up for VCT to find the 1. Tuesday looks pretty comfortable here. There's a crossfire set up for SAD as they whip around and address the threats coming from their own side of the map. And we'll put this one to bed pretty quickly now. Pancakes just wants to get it over with. Here's Joe making a bit of noise. Takes him out of the game. A chance to upgrade a weapon here and perhaps find a use for it as the spike is headed to A.
And with that, Vandal could maybe pull it off, at least attempt to pull it off. With Jerwin slipping his way into heaven, that task's going to be quite tough. For the lone Cypher, who's tagged up, spotted out, and really should be going down any second now.
All right. Little labored the way that was drawn out, but the result is ultimately the same. Weapons back in the hands of Shopify Rebellion Black this next round. And Armageddon to work with. So again, a powerful initiator ultimate to try and leverage to close the game out. But just like I mentioned, Jerwin did not have a need to make use of Dimensional Drift that previous round. It's an anti-eco round. He saves it for this one. Suffice to say, it's the most important round of the game.
And what I was looking at as well for SAD in that prior round, aside from just, winning their anti-eco, was that Zerona came into it a couple orbs away from having the Hunter's Fury and leaves the round with the ultimate online. I mentioned previously something that SAD didn't do when they had Hunter's Fury Dimensional Drift on defense was sync up those 2 ults to find kills in a retake then. But now on attack, they can use that to actually take a site or potentially use it in a post plant. And that could get them over the finish line on a round that again has SRB's economy hanging in the balance here.
I think you might have touched on maybe one of the issues for SRB in these sort of prior games coming in. Paint is often sliding out in front. And we mentioned, it's just a little too early, such that crosshair placement doesn't really get broken. He gets taken down, and there's no chance to trade that kill out. At the very least, as Neon, you want to make that space and trade yourself. We've seen a number of times now where Paint has been sort of stopped in his tracks, unable to kind of go for the basic game plan here for Neon.
Cutting through.
Honestly, this might just be some stupid speculation, but maybe he played too well in that first game where he feels invincible, like genuinely. But all right, regardless, here's Sherwin with that dimensional drip getting into the Z site, and there it is, synced up with the Hunter's Fury. Has it in an awkward position. Okay, at the very least, Facade is traded out.
All right, messy stuff there, but Paint and BCJ get there. This leaves Sao with very little left to work with. Spike is out in the open. Armageddon to clear it. His Paint does go down. He's, again, always in midair when he's found. So Rona was able to evil the numbers up. Drone here, they've got to know he's tucked Cubby. Yep, they're going to try and clear that now. That aftershock, it ends up being a 1-for-1. Monzi now for the game. Whoa! Okay, Benji had the drop on him, but Monzi had the flick. And Shopify Rebellion will bail themselves out of what could have gotten a little ugly.
Shopify